Hello and thank you for joining us for the November 2017 edition of Priority Report. Every year around this time, the Michigan Credit Union League and CU Solutions Group take stock of the current year and begin laying a foundation for the year ahead. And as I'm sure is true for all of you, we're in the process of updating our plans and budgets for next year. So as you do your budgeting, we hope that you'll plan for continued affiliation with the Michigan Credit Union League and CUNA, support for the CU Link Cooperative Advertising Campaign, participation in many of the great education events hosted by the League and CUNA, and consideration of CUSG solutions, one of our newest being the new LifeSteps Wallet mobile app. As you know, for MCL and CUNA, effective advocacy is our highest priority. And while we have been working through legislative and regulatory channels to achieve meaningful regulatory relief for credit unions, broad-based tax reform legislation is now one of Congress's top priorities. Republicans are posturing to score a legislative victory by quickly passing tax cut legislation by the end of this year. So the League's advocacy efforts in this area have been critically important. Over the past several months, the Michigan Credit Union League and our member credit union representatives, thank you to all of you who have been a part of this from across the state, we've worked to meet with our entire congressional delegation to secure statements of support for credit unions and credit unions' tax-exempt status. Among the many topics we talked about, the key topic was preserving our tax-exempt status, but it also included the need for regulatory relief. Our current tax status provides an important incentive for credit unions to operate the way that they do, with the not-for-profit charter as opposed to converting to a bank charter, for instance. This tax exemption is simply good public policy for our nation, as thousands of credit unions help millions of middle-class families and small businesses gain access to affordable financial services. Without the credit union model, many of these needs would simply not be met. And without the tax-exempt status, credit unions would find it difficult, if not impossible, to offer the same value and focus that they do as a result of their not-for-profit status. And as we met with our U.S. senators and our congressmen and congresswomen, this was the message we communicated in a clear and resounding voice. Today we're pleased to report the overwhelming support we've heard in response. All 16 members of the Michigan congressional delegation have expressed their support for maintaining credit unions' not-for-profit tax status as we met with them. Senator Gary Peters, Representative David Trott, who is a member of the House Financial Services Committee, and Representative Brenda Lawrence all referenced the American dream in their statements of support. To some, that may mean purchasing a home, to some buying a car, to others starting a small business. In any case, our congressional leaders recognize that credit unions are a driving force, that the credit union model and social mission help to drive the American dream in a way that also breeds economic stability and financial inclusion. Speaking of credit union financial progress, the most recent data from NCUA and CUNA shows us that Michigan credit unions are experiencing some of the fastest loan growth that they have seen since 1994. And leading that accelerated growth is member business loan growth, which has grown 23% year over year based on the most recently reported data. That translates into more small businesses, more jobs, lower unemployment, and a stronger, more vibrant economy. And while you can find complete statements from all 16 members of our delegation in our upcoming fourth quarter issue of our Contact magazine, I'd like to take a quick moment to call out several of the stronger statements of support that we've received. And they're pretty impressive. First, U.S. Representative David Trott, who is stepping down from Congress after this term, but serves on the important Financial Services Committee as a Republican. He said, "Credit unions play an important role in ensuring all Michiganders have access to the financial resources they need to invest, buy a home, build a stable future for their family, to live out the American dream. And as we overhaul our nation's broken tax code, we must be cognizant of factors such as credit unions' not-for-profit tax status that allow these member-owned institutions to continue to be a mainstay of Southeast Michigan." On the Senate side, Senator Debbie Stabenow, who happens to be a member of the Senate Finance Committee that deals with the tax reform issue, She said this, quote, "Credit unions are member-owned community organizations that are vital to small businesses and families across Michigan. That is why I have been a strong supporter of maintaining their tax-exempt status in any tax reform legislation." And Congressman Sandy Levin, who is a member of the House Ways and Means Committee and a former chairman of that committee, said this, quote, "As a credit union member for many years, I have long supported credit unions and the critical role they play in our communities. Credit unions provide essential access to financing and other important services to individuals and small businesses in Michigan. I am committed to preserving credit unions' traditional status as tax-exempt, not-for-profit, community-based organizations." So you can see that our congressional leaders understand that the credit union tax status not only makes sense for the cooperative structure of credit unions, but it also translates into stronger communities and increased economic prosperity in Michigan and across the U.S. To have this unanimous support as tax reform becomes a top priority in Congress is not only a positive sign that Michigan's delegation understands credit unions and how consumers benefit from them, but it's also a sign of our strong ongoing relationships with these lawmakers. So kudos to our Michigan credit union community for working hard to show up, provide the information, and advocate passionately for the credit union cause. Previously, in 2013, our league worked with Senator Debbie Stabenow and Carl Levin, Senators Stabenow and Levin, as well as our 14 members of the House then, to secure statements of support for our tax status back then. We also obtained statements of support from every member of our delegation back in 2005, when the makeup of our Michigan delegation was much different than it is today. In fact, only 3 members of the House who were in office that year are currently still serving. So this is the 3rd time in 12 years that we've garnered unanimous support from our Michigan congressional delegation for the credit union tax-exempt status. I'm very proud of that. Despite significant turnover over the years, support for the credit union not-for-profit tax status has remained rock solid. And while our ongoing efforts have generated strong support here in Michigan, it's important to remember that we have a strong partner in CUNA. Many of you likely saw CUNA President and CEO Jim Nussel's recent email. Jim reports that he and his team have gone through the House version of the recently introduced tax reform bill, and while the legislation is the first step in a long process, it's an important marker of where Congress is headed with tax reform. Ultimately, the last time we saw a tax code overhaul of this size was clear back in 1986. So while there's opportunity for improvements, there's also room and time for Congress to consider everything that could be inserted into this tax overhaul, by the way, including removing the credit union tax exemption. So we need to be vigilant. Early indications suggest that our tax-exempt status will remain, but it's critical that we stay on this issue, working with our members of Congress to help them understand why it's so important. Of course, communicating the importance of our tax status reaches beyond the political arena. It's important for credit unions to communicate the value that we provide as an industry to the public. That's telling the credit union story. And it's exactly what we do with our CU Link cooperative advertising campaign. There is a clear connection between advocacy and promoting the credit union difference. Once again, as our Michigan credit unions receive affiliation packets over the next few days and weeks, we hope that every credit union will consider the value that this cooperative advertising campaign provides, not just in terms of increasing awareness of credit unions so more people take advantage of credit services, but so that people understand that that needs to be preserved when members of Congress and state legislatures are working on legislation and regulations that could negatively impact credit unions. Regardless of theme or flavor of the campaign, the core of our CU Link cooperative advertising campaign has always been about the community value of credit unions and how they make an impact on people's lives. The higher savings rates, the lower loan rates, the lower levels of fees, all offer members and consumers a tremendous value. And the tax-exempt status is more than paid for by the hundreds of millions of dollars of value that consumers receive from credit unions. So should the time come, we need to be ready to communicate that message in a clear and engaging way to the public, not just to our lawmakers. A few final items before wrapping up. Our MCUL Education and Events Department has released its calendar of events for next year. The MCUL Compliance Conference is the first big event of the year, and it'll be held in East Lansing, February 21st and 22nd. That's followed by the Lending and Marketing Conference, March 20th and 21st in Grand Rapids. And then that'll take us into the CUNA GAC, February 25th through March 1st, followed by our own MCUL GAC, April 18th and 19th. You can find the entire list of these events on our website at mcul.org. And if you're like me, we're kind of in denial about planning our calendars this far in advance, but the fact is, to be able to take advantage of these events, we hope that you will put a marker on your calendar and plan to attend. Finally, as we covered in our third quarter priority report update last month, CUSG has several exciting announcements for November. First, CUSG has several Sprint campaigns running through the remainder of the year. The first is Sprint's annual holiday campaign. Theme for the holiday season and the busiest shopping time of the year, it reminds consumers that they receive an extra $100 for every new Sprint line activated when credit union members switch from another provider to Sprint. This is running alongside the CUSG's Sprint Snap Share Win sweepstakes. This is a social media campaign that encourages consumers to post a photo of how they would spend their cash rewards via Twitter or Instagram. Running now through December 16th, 3 winners will be selected each week to win up to a $1,500 Love My Credit Rewards Visa gift card. And of course, CUSG's big announcement in November was the launch of the LifeSteps Wallet wraparound container for credit unions mobile banking. As you know, LifeSteps Wallet offers this product that wraps around a credit union's mobile banking product to add value for members in areas of shopping, buying, maintaining, selling a home or a car, and of course, all things related to financial wellness. It's designed to enhance credit unions' mobile offerings while matching up what credit unions do, providing transaction accounts and ATM access and access to loans, matching all of those financial services up with the major life decisions and events that affect credit union members. All of the efforts behind LifeSteps Wallet are geared toward making sure that credit unions' financial services are top of wallet and top of mind when members are doing what they do on their mobile phones, shopping, researching, and taking care of their important financial wellness needs. Credit unions will be able to customize and brand the LifeSteps Wallet to incorporate any of the services that credit unions offer through their websites or other standalone apps that they want to integrate into one package for their members. The entire platform is built to help credit unions fulfill their mission of simplifying members' lives, helping members save time and money. And all of this integrates seamlessly and affordably with any credit union's mobile banking app. That's the beauty of the way that the product was designed. And I recently sat down with Mike Lawson from CU Broadcast for an interview as we launched this new product. And if you have an interest, you can view that interview at the CU Broadcast site, or you can see a link to the broadcast from our site at cusolutionsgroup.com. Of course, any of our team members would be happy to work with you to schedule a live demo of the LifeSteps Wallet product. Just contact your league rep for more information. Well, that's it for the November edition of the MCUL and Affiliates Priority Report. Thank you, as always, for joining us, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me or any of my team members with questions or concerns or comments. We'll see you again next month.